Well, thanks for joining me in the kitchen today. I'm in my outdoor kitchen, so I'm up at the cabin. It's still winter, it's mid-February. I want it to be spring really badly. It feels to me like winter has gone way too long this year, and I'm starting to get a bit tired of comfort food. There's been too many soups, too many casseroles, and I'm starting to crave a little bit of barbecue. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna cook a pork souvlaki over a fire, and we're gonna accompany that with a really nice orzo salad. So why don't you come with me inside the cabin and we'll get things ready. Now it's nice and toasty warm in the cabin. I got the fire roaring away, and we're gonna get things prepped up. With the orzo salad, if you haven't used orzo before, orzo is a pasta that really looks a lot like rice, except the kernels are larger. It's a great for making salads with. So we're gonna use a cup of orzo, and we're gonna get that boiled and cooled down so it'll be a nice temperature for the salad later. I'm gonna use a cup of orzo, and I have a pot of water that's boiling behind me, so we'll put the orzo in, give it a stir. When we bring that back up to boiling, it only takes about 6 minutes or 7 minutes. We're gonna try it first and make sure it's just al dente, which in pasta terms means it's a little bit firm and not really too soft. While the orzo's cooking, I'm gonna cut up a pork roast that I picked up. I'm gonna put it into cubes, maybe about inch and a half cubes, and we'll get a marinade going for it. I'm first gonna put on a pair of gloves here to make it easier. You can buy pork in cubes. A lot of times you find if you look around, you can get a pork loin or a pork loin roast, and it's a lot less expensive than if you buy meat that's already been cut up into cubes and you just do it yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut this up. I'm using pork today, but oftentimes I'll use lamb or I'll use chicken, turkey. Sometimes I'll use beef or even wild game. Any meat that you choose done in this recipe is gonna come out great. The orzo's boiling away. Just a few more minutes, we'll check it and see how firm it is. In the meantime, let's get the marinade ready. This is gonna taste excellent tonight, but if I would have thought about this a day before, it would have tasted incredible. Because when I make this recipe, I usually like to let it marinate overnight. If you leave it for 3 or 4 hours, it's still gonna taste really good. But if you leave it overnight, the flavors that come through are absolutely exceptional. So we're just gonna make do with the time that we have today. So I'm gonna start with a 1/4 cup of oil. Could be olive oil or regular oil, really doesn't matter. I have the juice of a couple of lemons, about a 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar, a whole head of garlic chopped up coarsely. Then we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of dried oregano, about half a teaspoon of salt, about 1 teaspoon of ground thyme, and about a teaspoon of black pepper. And that's it. We're just gonna combine the ingredients now. And now that the ingredients are combined and we have that pork coated with all of those nice seasonings and the lemon juice and the vinegar and the oil, I'm gonna put this into the fridge and we'll let this sit for a few hours. And again, if I was gonna be leaving this overnight, I would put plastic over top and you could use it up the next day. Now that the orzo is cooked, we're gonna take it off the stove and we're just gonna put it through a colander. Then I like to run a little bit of cold water through it just to take the starch off of the pasta. There we go. We'll let that sit for a minute. And I've got a bowl here. I'm going to put a little bit of oil and some olive oil into the bottom of the bowl, maybe a couple tablespoons. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to put the orzo inside. I'm going to mix it around. I want to coat the orzo kernel. Bleh. Can't speak today. I'm going to coat the orzo kernels with a little bit of oil so they don't stick to one another and starchen up. Then I'm going to take it, put it in the fridge and let it cool down. There we go. Just going to mix that around a little bit. Still a bit warm. You know what I might do is I might just take it and put it outside because it's nice and cold outside. Give it 10-15 minutes, then I'll transfer it over to the fridge. And we'll just let that chill and stay in the fridge until we're ready to put the salad together right after the souvlaki is ready. I've just come back inside from getting the fire lit. We're gonna let that burn, get some really nice coals going before we barbecue up the kebabs. In the meantime, I'm gonna get the salad ready. This salad I'm gonna show you today is one that is great in the fridge for 2-3 days. It's a wonderful one. My wife likes having it for a lunch. And here we go. So the Orzo's cooled down. I'm gonna add about 3/4 of a cup of dried cranberries, about a tablespoon of Italian seasonings, half a teaspoon of salt, and about a half teaspoon of black pepper. We're gonna add 1 can or about 2 cups of black beans, and a clump of green onions diced up nice and fine, some cherry or grape tomatoes. I like to use them just whole. That way, if someone is having a salad that's not a big potato or tomato fan, they can just push them off to the side. And we're gonna use a cup of feta cheese. And then finally, this is a secret that really makes a salad taste great. Using fresh herbs of any kind, I've just diced up a whole clump of parsley. In the wintertime, having some fresh herbs really makes you feel like you're at a different season. So let's add that into here. Put another 1/4 cup of olive oil. I like to use rice wine vinegar. I mean, you can use a lot of different varieties. I've just found that flavor-wise, it seems to go really well in this salad. And I'm gonna put in, I'm gonna say about a 1/4 cup. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. And let's toss this around. This is really flavorful, and here we have our starch. We also have vegetables combined. So we're just having the kebabs and the souvlaki along with a salad like this makes a complete dinner for you. And again, if you ask my wife, she'll tell you that this is perfect as a summer lunch. There we go. We're all good to go. I'm going to put this back in the fridge, and then a little bit later on, I'll get the souvlaki out, and we're going to cook it over a fire outside. We've got a great cooking fire on the go right now, so it's time to get down to the business of barbecuing. I've taken the souvlaki and I've skewered them up. I'm using metal skewers. Wood skewers don't last on a fire like this. And we're going to just start to put them onto the grill. Is there really a season where Canadians don't barbecue? I mean, I see people out 12 months a year on their deck, outside, wherever. I think barbecue and hockey are a couple of things we've kind of cornered the market on. One of the beauties of a real hot fire like this is it's going to take maybe 5 minutes on each side, maybe one more turn after that, and we're going to be good to go in. And one thing I've always said is if you don't have to wear welding gloves, you probably don't have your fire hot enough. When you're cooking kebabs and you're doing it over a fire, the secret is a really good hot fire, lots of coals, still a little bit of flame. You want to get that char happening. You want to get that smoky flavor coming through the kebabs. This is just it's gonna crispen up the garlic that's on the outside, and these are gonna taste absolutely incredible. Like any cooking fire, you'll find you've got your hot spots and you've got your cooler spots. So if things are starting to cook a little bit more on one area, just pull them a bit away from the fire. Take some of the pieces that maybe aren't cooking as fast and bring them over to where the heat is more intense. Maybe another 5 minutes and they're going to be all ready to take inside. We'll let them rest for a few minutes. We'll add a little bit of that salad and we'll be ready to eat. It's not quite the weather for sitting outside and eating dinner, so we're going to enjoy dinner inside tonight. Thank you very much for joining me in the kitchen today, at least in the outside kitchen. We've got this wonderful Orzo salad that we're going to enjoy tonight, and of course the pork souvlaki. Remember, you can use any type of meat that you want in with the souvlaki, and if you think ahead of time, like I didn't here today, you can get your meat marinating for a day before, and you're going to have that much more flavor to it. Be safe, and we've got maybe a few more weeks of winter and cold. Try to get outside as much as possible. It picks up your spirits. And remember, it's not long before we're going to be cooking dishes like this and enjoying them outside. So if you just want to break from, the regular winter foods, change it up a little bit. Make something that's springish or summerish and guaranteed to pick up your spirits. Be safe, enjoy yourself, and we'll see you next time in the kitchen.